You were the worst hire that Justin ever made, according to you, but not him. You didn't know anything about coffee, and now you own a coffee catering company in 2 locations, recently expanded to DC. What the heck? That is a big question mark into how we found ourselves here. Hey y'all, welcome to the Flash Quotes Podcast, the #1 pod for mobile event businesses of all shapes and sizes. Hanging out today with my friend and Flash Quotes co-founder, Justin Goodhart, also of Goodhart Coffee. And we have a special guest, Dan Possehl from Vim Coffee Catering. Hey Dan, what's up, dude?
How goes it? Nice to be
I'm good, man. You been drumming it all lately?
I have been drumming.
Where are you drumming?
I'm in LA still. And yeah, that's a part of my life. It's nice to have the side thing that takes you away from the obsession of building a company. So yeah, that's been a nice thing the last 4 or 5 years to have that out here in LA. And yeah, it's good to have hobbies. I think that's important.
I love drumming. Justin's a fellow drummer as well. I'm sure you guys bonded on that front.
We bonded. Let me make sure my alerts are off.
I'm a has-been drummer though.
We bonded, but I remember when I first met Justin, I saw his electric kit through the window of his house. I don't know if you had played it in a while.
Just all dusty. It was like crammed in a corner.
It was. I never heard him play it.
Well, I do just want to tell the audience this. Dan is the owner of Vim Coffee Catering. Dan is not just any podcast guest. I've actually known Dan for many, many years. And many years ago, he was a barista for me in Denver.
Yeah. I think I was your first barista that, I don't think you're proud of this. I think I was your first barista that knew nothing about coffee. And I think I was probably your last barista that you ever hired that knew nothing about coffee. I think you were in your desperate, you've talked about your desperate phase.
Yes.
I was definitely the most desperate person you hired, which I appreciate.
No, Dan, if you knew the people I've hired, you'd know that is not at all true. Because even if you didn't have coffee skills, you had the work ethic and you had for sure like the customer service, the friendliness, all of that. So, I mean,
True.
Yeah, you were kind of a desperate hire, but like obviously I made the right decision.
Yeah, no, I mean, it worked out and I appreciate you giving me a chance. Yeah. And that was way back in Denver. I think I was one of your early baristas back when you started. So yeah.
Amazing. So when I met you for the first time, Dan, we were talking about product stuff and we were on a call and I said, so do you go, you asked me, do you go by Dan or do you go by Daniel? And I was like, yeah, Daniel. And I was like, what about you? I think you might have said Daniel. And I was like, well, and you're like, are you okay with that? And I thought, oh, that does feel kind of weird. You're like, that feels weird to you, doesn't it? And then you proceeded to just prod me and then ask for weird things on the product. You're like, can I have a dark mode? Can I just change all the colors of Flash Quotes?
Yeah, it's a social anxiety. It's the questions shouldn't be. So I apologize.
No, dude, I loved it. It was like so refreshing and just out of nowhere. So I wanted to share that.
You may get some of those questions on this podcast as well. So we'll see what.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you were the worst hire that Justin ever made, according to you, but not him. You didn't know anything about coffee, and now you own a coffee catering company in 2 locations, recently expanded to DC. What the heck? That is a big question mark into how we found ourselves here.
Yeah, it's been a fun 2-year. Well, no, it hasn't been fun. It's been pieces of. There's been fun days, but I will say. Starting Vim in Las Vegas when you live in Los Angeles, it's I don't recommend it to anybody, but yeah, I think I took the leap. Vegas is an interesting market. I saw a blueprint working for Goodhart that showed coffee catering is kind of becoming popular. And yeah, it's been interesting there. And then recently we launched to DC about 6 months ago. So I guess the whole operation's been flowing for about 2 years and 2 months now. We're going on 2 years and 3 months. And yeah, it's been some of the best days of my life. It's really fun when it's working. And then there's a million problems, as you guys know, and everybody who listens to this knows. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, that's kind of the way it started 2.5 years ago. I owe Justin a lot for his support and help. Justin's not in Vegas fighting through all the things we deal with. I will say, it's been a journey of just of just learning a lot about how to manage a city that's very different. I'll say Vegas is very different than any other city in America.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight to everyone that Dan is starting this on like 2x expert mode, right? It's like he started his first city, not even in a city he lived in. Now he lived in LA, so he could drive, what is it, 4 hours or
Four
something?
and a half, yeah.
Yeah, so like he could get there, but that's still very far, very, very challenging. I don't know a single other person, myself included, who would have been like, yeah, my first city isn't even going to be where I live. It's going to be somewhere pretty far away. And then Vegas being just an absolute beast of a city with a lot of this kind of like old, almost like mob gatekeeping mentality to every venue, every major convention center. You've got to be a preferred vendor. You got to know somebody. You got to work your way in. It's not like a lot of other cities where it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyone can come in and like cater here and serve here. That is not the case. And so, I mean, what made you want to start your business? And yeah, what have been some of the like the hardships that you went through? Specific stories, if you have any in mind,
Yeah,
in the
there's a
last
million.
12 months.
And I knew you'd ask this question listening to flash quotes. So yeah, I mean, right away, I think problems that everybody deals with. Finding the warehouse, right, is in Vegas. The health department situation is pretty crazy compared to, honestly, I mean, I know, talking to other people, even you, it's crazy in Vegas, the stuff they make you do. Navigating that right away, I had bought all my setups, and health department was like, no. And I had spent, I mean, you guys know the prices of espresso machines. Right away, I had $30,000 of espresso machines and grinders that they were like, these aren't gonna work. I remember driving back from Vegas first week, after getting inspected, and being like, I slept at a gas station. It was like 3 a.m. I slept on the side of the road because I was exhausted. I didn't want to get back. And I was like, this isn't going to work. Like, I'm going to have to lose. So I begged the health department to let me to grandfather that equipment in. That was the first challenge. And then from there, it's just, I think we figured out that CO worked in Vegas. And then once you start getting people who want to use you in Vegas, it doesn't matter if you're not a preferred vendor. First year, we had $1,000 of events that we couldn't do. I mean, they were booked. We would book events, and then a week out, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, the client would go like, property's not going to let you do it. So then I was like, this is either going to work, or this is either not going to work, or we're just, we're going to have to learn how the game in Vegas works. And
So just to like be clear on that, you're saying you booked like a couple $100,000 of events that are on your schedule. You're planning to service those, and unbeknownst to you, like you just get a notification when that event's a couple weeks out saying, yeah, you can't service this.
yeah, so, yeah, I would say we probably had $50,000 of events that were on the books that got canceled. And then we had 150,000 of conversations that were weeks along where the client wanted to use us and couldn't. But honestly, that was kind of, it was nice to see that if we could figure this out, that's the potential for each property. And then, yeah, and then I think Vegas, like Justin said, with the mob, and it's a relationship city, and I knew nobody there. Again, it's stupid to do this. I don't recommend anybody doing this in a different city. But I was very ignorant in the way that Vegas worked, and I'm glad that I was, and that I wouldn't. I honestly don't know if I would do it again that way. I may go to a different city first, but I'm glad now that we're there. The opportunity and like the potential of Vegas and the way that we've done it the last 2 years, we have figured it out, and we built some cool relationships. But yeah, there's a million other problems in Vegas that nobody's dealing with, where we need 30, 40 baristas in a 3-day span. And then the next 5-6 weeks, we only need 7. And then you just have to say yes to everything, which has been our mentality. Again, I don't recommend doing that there, because there's been so many sleepless nights of how are we going to pull this off. But yeah, I go on and on about the problems, but yeah, it's good. It's part of it, and we learn, and we just keep going. And there's been some beautiful things in Vegas too, right? Like the people there, the baristas, I think we have an amazing crew of people who really want to help build something. And so, yeah, there's beautiful things there as well. So I do think Vegas has so much potential, and I'm excited for what's to come in Vegas, even though I finally feel that after 2 years that we have made it as somebody that people want to know and work with in those billion-dollar companies on the strip
Yeah.
that run everything.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what usually saying yes is a common theme, right? I think it's a common theme for building a business for anybody. Every new operator we've talked to, like a part of their origin story is saying yes when it was going to result in a sleepless night and an oh shit moment and a can we pull this off? And it's getting through those flames and coming out the other side that you realize how much you can actually do and how durable you and your team actually are. Is there a yes moment that was just like
Yeah.
that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think for the biggest contract we have now, they wanted pictures of our setup. I think a lot of it's luck. Getting in with these people is luck. But when they do ask you to do something, they want to see everything. They want to see your insurance limits. They want to see your setup pictures. So I had those little machines, and I was like, they don't want to see a single group head machine. So I dropped $7,500 on a two group head machine just for a picture because I knew nobody there, and we needed this thing next week to get this because I had a meeting with them. Again, I had to drive. He wanted a meeting. The other thing is you get these meetings and they want to do in the next 2 days. You got to like, okay, we're going to Vegas tonight, which is great. It's exciting to get those meetings, but it's a lot to pull off. So yeah, I paid $7,500 to get a 2 group head machine shipped in a crate to my warehouse in 3 days. Took a picture, sent it in, and looking back on the picture, I wouldn't have hired us. I mean, the picture is still awful. And then I sold the machine for like $2,000 loss, but that contract's given us the most. And it's been I think that's how we've done a lot of things for free. We've had companies say we can't afford the corkage fee at this property because every property is going to add on top of your service an insane amount. So you have to keep your prices low enough where people want to consider you. So then if they say that, I just started saying what's valuable for us to do this event one way or another. Like, can we just do it? And I would just go below my cost on some of these like conventions where it's going to cost me 3-4 days of labor and endless drinks for 8 hours just to get in front of people's faces. And it's worked. And that's been the mentality. And I still think we have 2 more years of doing that with some properties just because the size of the couple companies that we are up against in that world, they're playing with 30, everybody's playing with 30, 40 setups, and you just have to keep going. You can't stop. And so, yeah, it's going to be endless. There's going to be more problems. There's going to be more of those situations for us. But I think it's like I'm looking at Vegas as like a 5-year, whatever we have to do to establish ourselves, let's do it. But when you don't have money, when you're starting a business, it's like, that's risky. And if you have a family and a mortgage, I'm lucky where I don't have that. I can understand where it's like, that's really scary. And it's scary if you don't have a family or a mortgage, And so it's just taking those risks financially. How much do you leverage and risk? So that's one of the big problems.
And you've talked to me about, I think, like, the convention center and, them wanting you to do whatever it is, 15 to 20 setups around, like, again, on pretty short term notice where you've had to pull together some really, really crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, it's been, we're up to 32 setups in Vegas, but yeah, we tell each here's the, hopefully none of these properties are listening because we can pull it off, yes, but we tell each property, hey, for a while, we've told each property, hey, we have 20 setups for you, hoping that none of them would book 20 setups at the same time.
Oh, it's the setup Ponzi scheme.
I don't do that now because I have these relationships with these companies and I'm like, we can do this for you. We can add more. We can grow with you now that we're in with them. But yeah, in the beginning, it was like, let's just, and then you have to find the machines. We have a couple of really good relationships with suppliers who, give us terms that are friendly. But yeah, I mean, we are 32 is not enough right now. There's a couple events in January that are looking scary with bookings and we don't say no to anything just because once they know you can't do it, they're going to stop asking. That day may come, sure. But for now, we're just going to keep. And then you got cash flow issues where, okay, you have to pay for 30, 40 baristas over 4 days. You do the math on that.
And you're getting a lot of times, like, you have to pay out that labor. You have to buy all the equipment in advance, and your terms with these big venues might be net 30, net 60. So
Not
you're
might be, it's net 30 and net 60. It's the
That's
amount
if
of,
you succeed in chasing him down.
I would say 80% of our bookings are net 30, net 60 in Vegas. So it has been brutal cash flow. I mean, you're talking weekends where it's 20, 25,000 of labor. And when you're early on, when I'm early on, it's like, I'm not smart enough to figure that out when clearly I started a business in a stupid city 4.5 hours away from me. I don't know. It's like, yeah, the things I ran into and I'm running into, now I'm a little bit better at gauging that. But yeah, man, it's, and I'm not going to tell these companies, I need to payment now. Like, they're not going to change that for even if we get to the size of 50, 60 carts, we're still a small vendor in Vegas.
yeah.
It's like, nobody cares. Like, you have to just say, yes, we want more, and keep going. Yeah. That's the life in Vegas. So yeah. And that's probably this is all lines up to say I'm an idiot for starting another city when we need equipment and in capital in DC, or in Vegas. But I also was like, I want a normal city
Yeah.
that I can build the way that I went into this thinking, and then grow from there. And I think scaling quickly is important in a world where, I mean, unfortunately, all your listeners, we're not like competitors. I know you want us all to be friends, Justin, but like, a lot of people are listening in the same cities,
Yeah.
and it's getting more and more popular. And so, like, the reality of it is growing quickly, the coffee cart world and the coffee catering world, which is cool. But a lot of these cities like DC, I'm surprised when people are like, this is a cool idea. And I'm like, people still don't know about this in some of these places. And that's where we got to be better at marketing and sales. But I still think we're a few years off from it being like oversaturated in some of these places. But Vegas is small. Vegas is still small. And the amount of like single 1, 2, 3 hour events outside the strip that we were getting leads for, not very high.
Yeah.
So it was like, you either do this or you take it to another city.
Yeah. And I do just gotta give you a shout out because, I was wanting to, and I think I did guide you a bit in getting your business off the ground, but I was quickly surprised, as you were, that like, this is absolutely nothing like any of my cities. This is a whole different ball game. And like, actually, Dan, I don't know how much I can help you with this, because this is a whole different world for both of us. And I mean, to go from I have so much, I'm so impressed by you and have so much respect for you, because 2 years ago you went from nothing, not even running any coffee carts, to now like more coffee carts in a single city than like probably anybody I know. Like, there's, that maybe there's some people in Vegas who are in kind of the convention circuit, but to go to scale that quickly in your knowledge and ability and cash flow and team is like crazy, crazy impressive. We've grown a lot in the last 2 years, but it's kind of been copy and pasting. You've been like, for us, it's just like, yeah, it's easy. But for you, you've been out there, if we're using like a pioneer analogy here, you've been out there like chopping down the trees and like carving a path through the thick forest. Whereas I'm just like setting down stones in the plains to walk on, sort of thing. It's just,
I
it's
appreciate
easy. Like,
that. Yeah. No, I mean, you, when I talked to you about what city I should start, you literally were the one who said, you think about Vegas. So in actuality,
it's my fault.
well, a lot of this is your fault.
Yeah. Oops.
And I mean, but I was like so hungry to start something. And coffee, I do love the coffee world. But I think that's probably part of the ambitious spirit, is that once I saw that the coffee world is vast and there's a lot of opportunity, then bringing in people who like also can help me with more knowledge. I mean, there's people on our team who have so much more knowledge I mean, it's awesome when you find baristas who are so just, I mean, like that, like have gone to 2 years of whatever in the espresso world and like learn that. And I've obviously learned quite a bit the last 7 years doing espresso since I was hired by you. But I think that's the other key, is like, if you're going to scale, you have to obviously, and we all know this, bring in people who are really, really, really good. And there's been bad hires along the way, but yeah, having a network and having people that you can rely on. Now, getting a hold of Justin is impossible. So after I was like, well, yeah, Justin, help me start this. And then like a month in, it's like, you were not answering and you're stressed out of your own life. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
this guy's not, and building an app. I'm like, well, yeah, he's a goner. But once it settled down for you, I have appreciated the support and flash quotes, which I know, I mean, obviously this is why I'm here to gas up flash quotes for you guys. Let's just get into that for a second.
I
Not
have
for a
so many
second. That's the whole
questions
point.
about building your team, Vegas, but I
Yeah.
mean, I guess if you want a quick little teaser of just
If you
bringing
want,
up
since you just complimented me, we
Okay.
have done all this with me at the helm of admin, and I just for the first time this month hired my first admin. Kudos to flash quotes being for employees. And if you're not using flash quotes, I could say a lot of things. You know, you're an idiot. You're wasting money. I've grown to love flash quotes like it is an actual part of the team. So anyways, I'll talk
Okay, that
about it
was
more.
weak. I'll circle back with some prompts later on to just give it a,
Sure.
but no. So talk to me about building the team, because like you also couldn't have done this without without the team you've built, right? So who was like the first person who did more than just go work events for you? And talk
Yeah.
to me about like the pillars. Who are the pillars of your team right now in Vegas? And
Yeah.
how did the journey evolve with them from them being probably just a barista to now like a pillar?
Yeah, we've had a core of like 7 baristas, team people from the beginning. I would say, I mean, I did my first event. I was the barista for the first event, had somebody shadow. And then event 3, I had a barista in there doing the event and I left the room and was like, if this is going to work, like get out of there and go work on emails. And that's that. And so since then, I haven't done any barista work in Vegas since event 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, I think we had 5 baristas who were really involved early on in just doing all the events, and then we had a operations manager, is now kind of the term, step in about 8 months ago, and it's been his obsession with equipment and building things. Also, and I know you've mentioned it before, like hiring people who are entrepreneurial is kind of, those people are really key in helping you, but they also will leave you pretty quickly when they chasing their dreams. And so now 2 years in, we're like, I know that that's going to happen to some people on our team who are ambitious and want to do their own things. But yeah, training failed a lot early on. And honestly, it was a lot of the baristas being like, this can be better. And it wasn't by lack of not wanting, I obsess about things being good. Aesthetics, the amount of times I've said aesthetics, and that word's whatever I said, I mean, like that gets thrown out there so many times. And like my team hears that a lot. And that's caused a lot of sleepless nights. But it's a lot of times it's the team. And I will say, okay, paying people well, those tips that flash quotes gets you. And then just, respecting people's time and growing it. And then also, I will say in Vegas, like it's always been my thing. If a client cancels, we're still going to pay the barista, because to build a team, like they are giving up shifts somewhere else usually. So I've had a lot of that the first 2 years where it's been like, no matter what, if your shift gets canceled, and they don't know that on my side, I may throw them somewhere where they're not needed and on another shift or something. But yeah, I think doing things like that has built a pretty strong team that I think believes in where Vim's going. But the operations side of it, having somebody come in and deal with the equipment was the biggest first change for me, where it was like building out new stuff and making sure stuff was fixed if it was broken. That was the first time I was like, okay, I don't have to go there every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I can stay away. And so that was life changing. And now I think admin, although automation is now that we've started putting money into automation the last couple of months, is the next chapter of giving myself more sleep, right, and not stressing. So yeah, a mix of baristas who are flexible in Vegas and in DC, and then also grinding for 2.5 years, doing everything until it's time to actually put somebody else in those roles. And I think too, Justin, when people are the right fit for something,
Yeah.
it usually shows itself.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to trust. You definitely have to trust people to go out there and do what they're good at.
Yeah.
And starting in another city, I had no choice. So early on, it was just like, let these people be good at what they're good at, and you just worry about keeping them happy and taken care of, and your clients. And it's worked. It's definitely worked.
And another area where you hold a record is fastest time to a second city because I don't know anyone else who, after 2 years, also was opening a new city.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas, in an interesting way, forces us to buy a lot of equipment for a 6-month period, and then it's just gonna sit there for the summer, and I was like, "Let's put this in another place." Yeah, and I think, again, I think that is the advantage of starting in another city right away. It's like I don't have that I mean, of course, there's a lot of fears. I'm afraid of a lot, and anxiety runs my life, but, uh, starting in a city where you are not in, that we already done that. We did that the first year. It's like,
Your first city was your second city in a way.
yeah, and I've thought about that before. Like, I mean, it's gonna be, and honestly, anything outside of Vegas is gonna be next easier than what we deal with in Vegas. I think the single day events that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours that we're seeing in DC, those are like, hey, baristas know what they do. Show up at the warehouse, get your stuff. Custom branding, is pretty automated. Like, there's your stuff. Go do it. Come back, and then we just have to make sure that baristas feel supported and are talked to, when and that they have people to reach out to if needed. And Vegas is not that. Vegas is 3, 4, 5 day events. You have to do tastings for these massive companies where it's like, well, we want something viral. The custom branding side of it, we're having to do 8-foot, 12-foot, 16-foot fully wrapped bars for people. It's different. So I'm excited about new cities. I love what's building in Vegas for sure, and I'm excited about all. But I am in, like, DC was a breath of fresh air in terms of, okay, I understand why Justin is where he's at. If you follow these certain things and do them the right way, it's like this can grow in a very systematical, cool way.
So the number one question we get is, what software do I need besides Flash Quotes to help me grow my business? So we decided to put together a cheat sheet. It covers everything from scheduling tools, communication tools, payroll, basically every category of software you need to run a growing event business on top of Flash Quotes. You'll save a ton of time, energy, and money trying to experiment with other tools if you just take our word for it. We've tested them all, and we have a great list for you. So it's free. You can just scan this QR code or go to flashquotes.com/software tools and download that free cheat sheet. All right, back to the pod.
You probably also hold the record for fastest to not be servicing the events. Did you just say you served 3 events in Vegas and then you were just deuces? Let me go do sales and do admin and
Yeah, but first event, again, it was Justin's fault. Justin actually gave me my first lead, and he gave me the wrong time. I showed up, and it was like, yes, your team gave me they switched the time, and you forgot to tell me. I showed up, and they were freaking out, and it was like I think I signed an NDA, but I don't remember. It was a Elon Musk event for my first event, and you gave me the wrong time, and it's at a property that's like one of the big. I'm like, this is. They were mad. They put custom branding on my panel, ruined my panels, but I wasn't going to tell them. Yeah, this is fine. But the first event was not great.
Did I?
But
Oh man,
yes, had shadow shift the next day, and that barista's been with us since. Next event I did by myself. Then the following event, it was one of the hotel suites. Had a barista in there who's been with us since day one, and that was the day, like I said, I walked out of that room and was like, and she had like super. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess I didn't really test her espresso dialing in or steaming, but I guess I trusted right away based on our interview that she was going to be great. I walked out of the room, did my emails. And from there, yeah, we got a few more people. And I remember, like, going back and forth between Vegas. The amount of times I have to pull off to the side of the road to answer an email or do an interview or something. It was a lot. It was a lot. But once you get your team, and I'll say that's the hardest part in DC is getting a team in a city where people don't drive often, like the cars. That's been a new experience, but I think finally 6 months in, we have a really solid team. But yeah, I wasn't going to grow this company as a barista. I knew that.
Right. I mean, 4.5 hours away, I think that was the forcing function, but that is absolutely bonkers. Like, I think most people probably work months, if not years, at the events, right? And it's like one of the hardest things that comes up over and over again is somebody's ability to let go of control. Like, this is my baby, this is my brand, they associate their business with them, like their espresso skills, their servicing skills, their face-to-face interactions, and to like totally take a different approach like you did is crazy, man. I mean,
Yeah. I'm dealing with that right now, though, on the sales side, where I'm like, when this has to go to somebody else, it's going to be scary. But I think I learned our first event in DC. The barista texted me at 5 a.m., which is 2 a.m. my time. That's the other thing. Being in LA, when I'm getting called, the first month, 2, 3, 4 months, you're getting calls at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and you have to sound like you're like you enjoy getting that call in the morning, because otherwise you don't want baristas not to call you. But the barista texted me at 5 a.m. and was like, I'm sick. And this was the first hire and the first event in DC. It was for a big company. I had to call for the first time ever. We had never had to do that in Vegas the first 2 years. But I was like, well, that's honestly, this is good for me. Like, cool. Company either we'll see if it's going to fail from here, but it obviously hasn't. And that was a nice reminder that, like, you can't control. If you can set people up, if you can set your team up with, and a lot of it's like the automation systems, checks and balances stuff. You can set them up right. Once it comes to the event, you kind of have to let it go. Have I been able to do that? No. Like I think there's a lot of anxiety when you have big clients for the first time, or like something that is lucrative if it goes well. But you don't have no choice. You have no choice. I told myself 8 years ago that I'm never going to get into the event world, and here we are because of that. Where every event is like it's make or break, and you have to refund $1,500, $2,000 if your barista upset somebody by. I have one barista who was very ambitious with reviews and was walking around trying to get reviews. Had to refund the whole event because the client's like, that's not cool. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. So another thing is, like, I always refund. There's been some big refunds. We never do a deposit or a payment up front because I want the and it's bitten us before in that regard. But I think when you're trying to grow something really fast, like those like walls that could you don't even know what type of wall is being built between you and the client. I try to stay away from those. But yeah, there's been plenty of times where it's been like, it feels like it's gone really well. But then when you think about these things, like, those are some bad situations that they're not going to kill your business. Like, you just got to keep going. And I know Justin's actually, I've thought about it many times. Like the time when I think the first meeting I had with you said one of your drivers or your baristas ran over a spray can of spray paint and like blew a tire out.
Yeah. This
And I
is
remember
like
you
on the
meeting me.
interstate, an entire like gallon of paint in San Francisco, and blew out their tire. And this was like for Ferrari. I think I've told that story on the podcast. And
yeah, I think about that often though, where it's, and then your meeting with me was very calm, which I remember in that moment being like, okay, if that happens to me when I have baristas, I am not going to be like able to have a meeting like this where I'm not stressed. But like, your company keeps growing and your brand keeps growing, and like, you obviously have had these situations. I've been a part of some of those where somebody was being trained. I was supposed to train them in your system and they didn't show up. I called you 30 minutes later and said, well, this person's probably not.
and that's it, right? Because if someone doesn't show, or like a new hire is late, that's like a super red flag. They probably never worked another event after that.
Unless you're desperate. If I didn't show that first event, you might have still let me keep working. But
yes, that is true, Dan. And that is true. That is why, like, that is why I now try to not get into those desperate situations. But that is so true. Like, there's a desperate event owner that makes one set of decisions and tolerates one set of things, and there's a non-desperate event business owner who makes much better decisions. But a lot of times, if you haven't made those decisions weeks or months ago, then you can't be the non-desperate one, because you can only be the non-desperate one 3 months from now based on the decisions you're making today. So like, yeah, that is, and it is the worst feeling in the world to be like, to just be there desperate, not being able to do anything, or having to like let a truly terrible barista go work your event, but just this once, because the alternative is actually much worse than the terrible barista going to work the event.
You got to take the risk. Them actually going there and doing an okay job where you might get the client back is better than canceling, where you know that client's probably not going to look you up next time.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it.
It's wild out there. What is your kind of training and vetting process look like more recently? I don't know if you've done, kind of built some systems around that, as you now have quite a few baristas and just launched a new city.
Still working on it to where I want it. But yeah, I think videos and stuff, DC has shown a lot of the cracks in terms of the training.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's just the little things, right? It's the little things where, like, could bite you down the line if you don't get them taken care of early. But yeah, I think now all the if there is extra income we're pouring that into training and building out training docs. And because I don't want to start any new city without having all that sorted, because I've seen how stressful that is in DC. But you take a lot of things for granted when you launch a new city, and you assume, you forget those first couple of weeks with your baristas in that city that seems so solid now, and you have a team that you trust. So yeah, videos for sure. And then onboarding, I think part of you got to get those people to trust you right away. I've noticed some of our stuff that just probably, if I'm on the other side, is coming across as unprofessional. So trying to get that in a place where it's like, here's an onboarding link where you can go through this whole process. Just it matches the other professional side of your business. But I've hired still a month ago, bad hires. And it happens. In Vegas, we have a whole different system where we now need a load and baristas, and finding people who are like, I'll work 3 days a month during an event where you need 40 people spread out across. But then we're dealing with like a lot of these places, like we're not going to have 40 carts in the same venue. You're going to have 20 in one and 7 in another, and you're going to have single events where you need people to actually like know how to set up, and you can't just set it up for them the day before and then they come in. So it's a headache, and I don't think anybody else is dealing with it on the level that we have, which I think that's a cool thing in life. If something's really hard for you, it's going to be hard for everybody else, and if you can fight through that and figure that out, that's awesome. On the other side, it's not fun to have to fill 4 carts 3 days out with, trying to, and you said it, you've exhausted your network of baristas, all their friends. And it's like, what do? You put out an Indeed ad and you be honest with the people being hired and say, we'd love to add you to our big group of baristas that can work these events. But I don't know, you have like tests and stuff for baristas. That's what we're trying to do now, or it's like we can actually, test communication skills.
Yeah.
How quickly are you getting back to us? Because that's more important to me when I'm trying to fill a shift, is how quickly can somebody say yes or no and not leave it hanging for a week. The barista side of it in Vegas, we can train a lot more and get people in to actually, we can touch up the dialing in and the steaming. DC, we want that right away, where people are able to dial in and do that as best as the next person in line at our. But yeah, I don't know. It's a work in progress. Just judging somebody's character on a call is, I don't know. It's a wild card. I mean, people can lie. Those resumes on Indeed are, who knows? So yeah, figuring that out where you're doing tests and getting people in and then you have to find your leader in that new city who's like, this barista is the person that's going to be training people, because I can't fly in. I can't do a whole day trip to Washington, D.C. from LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get past the first 3-4 months and you build your team, and then they can tell you the honest truth. Once they trust you, then you can kind of get them to be the one who's like, this person is a good hire, this person's not.
Yeah.
Do you have an ops manager? Did you get like an operations like a warehouse manager from the start in DC, or how did you think about that?
No, I have some family out there that's in emergencies helped, but no, I mean, we do a lot of delivery. The systems are pretty smooth there, but yeah, you start finding the baristas who want to take care of a few tasks after their shift and before their shift. And then you just it's not going to be perfect right away, but no, we don't necessarily have a warehouse manager there. We just added a warehouse manager in Vegas for the first time, where like the operations manager's not doing that aspect of it anymore, because like it's just when you have 30 carts in a warehouse, and it gets pretty crazy. So yeah, I think that's important though, but I also think like the money right now is just, we have to buy equipment, and we just have to do as much as we can as a company. And that's where I think automation and, doing some of that stuff on the backside, putting money into that does help. If you can get a view, if you can take a look a year down the line or 6 months down the line, spend some money on building out some systems instead of hiring a person who you have to train and you're not sure about. I don't know. I don't know the right way though. If that's what you're asking, I don't know the right way. Still trying to figure that out.
On the topic of automation, you were talking about some of the new workflows you'd implemented in FlashQuotes land. Have those been working well as like an automation for comms? Is there other automations you've been putting in place that are kind of helping dial things in? And
yeah, Zapier. I mean, Justin loves Zapier more than his wife and his kid.
I don't.
Like
How
Zapier.
dare you?
Yeah. I like Zapier. It's like Justin wants to like spend time with Zapier. I like Zapier. I like what Zapier can do for me, but I need somebody else to like
Man, that
do
was
it
a
for
sick
me.
burn.
No, it's good. I mean, honestly, you saved probably $50,000 doing it yourself. I can't. For some reason, my brain. I mean, like I like how I like dreaming about what it can do and then having somebody else build it for me. Um, but yeah, I think getting your event briefs out without having to worry about them, getting your follow up emails, your confirmation emails, and then stupid stuff like, hey, let's get a scale in the warehouse that you put your towel bin on. That once it passes a certain weight, you can zap the order to pick up your towels
There we go.
the next day. Stupid
Whoa.
stuff like that. But no, Justin might be able to code that. It's gonna be expensive for me to have somebody try to figure that out. But
Like where
stupid
your
stuff like
head's at.
that. Yeah. It's and then custom branding is a big one for us, especially in Vegas. That can be stressful. So we've actually we've automated some of the getting the files from clients, but we got so sick of trying to find a vendor to do plastic cups for us that we invested in our own cup machine. So we're doing now all of our own prints. I'm going to plug it just because why not?
Yeah, plug it.
It's basically a full blown cup printing
Cold
logos.
cup only.
Yeah. Well, cold and hot cups we do, but yeah, we can do it all. We just can't do wraps. Well, we can't do wraps on the hot cups. We can do wraps on the ice cup. But yeah, I mean, we're going to do small batches. I know coffee caterers. I think the order times for companies of trying to order in bulk, it's like 5-6 weeks out, and it's just not. So we're doing everything in house in Vegas. So if there's anybody who needs cups, and we understand that the minimum 50 cup order, and so we're going to try to lean into some of that. But yeah, reach out to us.
Well, what's the web? Do you have the website? Do you have the
Not
order?
launched yet because we're a little late on that, but bad timing. I should have had that launched by the time I come on your website. Maybe
You could just say it and then launch it by Friday, man. Come on, let's go.
customcupprints.com. But that should be full blown online in a month. We're sales taking orders. We're just doing everything in the back end to take the orders if you want to reach out and email.
So low minimum order quantity, like it'll get shipped out in under a week, hopefully. So
Yeah.
reasonable turnaround times, small order quantities. I mean, that is what coffee caterers need, and really all event businesses need. You don't need to order 1,000 cups in most cases for
Yeah.
custom branding. So,
Yeah. And it's cool in Vegas. Like we get so many. I mean, the custom branding is it's a lot. So just having all that stuff in house is where you can control it on the back end is great. But yeah, the automation side. I mean, there's so much still that needs to be built out. But I think that's where all the time and money is going to go into the next year, because you could pay somebody to do that for like an employee for a year, and then the next 5 years, a lot of that stuff, it's going to be done, it's going to be built, and you won't have to pay somebody to do the little things that. And it's not like it's new technology. I mean, it's been around. You've been doing it for years, Justin. It's
Yeah.
just it's not cheap, but it is worth it if done, if done the right way, for sure.
Yeah. And Dan, I do need to shout out, like, I'm not sure if you're aware, in Flash Quotes now, and you're on the pro plan, I think, like when you assign a staff to an event, we will automatically send them like a Google Calendar invite with the link to the event brief and all of that. Are you using that right now, or is that?
Well, we had it set up with a few other, and here's the other thing. There's a few different nuances that we had to kind of, just because Vegas is so different. In DC works great. In Vegas, we're doing so many multi-day events with different times. So we've had to automate a few different things, but no, I mean, it saves. I didn't do that for the first year and a half, which is stupid. I mean, that's like how many you have to sit there the day and send out 7 event briefs. It's like, that's just dumb when it can be automated. So yeah, I'd say that's like a huge, now you have to make sure the details are right, and you just have to trust that it's all in there. That's the other thing. But that's on us, right? As the ones who are booking. But yeah, no, I mean, we don't use the calendar yet with Google Calendars because we only use Sling for the last 2 years, but we're definitely looking to transition.
Wait,
Yeah, everything, like I told you, everything we're building, you're building a week earlier. So honestly,
on Flash Quotes.
spend the money on Flash Quotes. Don't hire somebody. That's the honest bottom line. So yeah.
I want to jump back to, you mentioned in Vegas how if an event gets canceled and you've already have staff assigned to it, they've already committed to it, you obviously try and redeploy them onto something else, but you make sure they get paid. You kind of eat that cost. When did Is that common practice? When did you decide to do that? That seems to be like a really kind of a pro team, pro staff move. Curious if that's informed by like your experience working at Good Heart Coffee and kind of being on the other side.
Yeah, maybe. I never had an event canceled. I saw events canceled for other baristas. I don't know. I think I took that mentality on when the honest truth is Vegas need a group of 50 people who trust and want to jump in and help. And the only way to do that is to have people trust that their shifts aren't going to be just thrown around. So to me, paying for somebody there's somebody still getting paid, even though of course it's not cheap, right? Like you're not making money, you're losing money. But to me, building a team that trusts that they're going to get taken care of one way or another is pretty valuable in the sense that what we're trying to build in Vegas is so big, and we kind of have to, that we just need. And also, you got to, I mean, like as a human, like I don't, if my son gets canceled and I've taken time off from my other job, like, you know, like you just, the human aspect of it, of course, is like these people I do absolutely care about. And gig work's hard. Gig work's hard. It's not paying you full time. You know, it's like they have other, and that's a beautiful thing too, where all these people are like chasing their dreams on the side. I know Justin loves hiring artists and musicians, and because they have other things that can, you know, that can supplement as well some of those days where those weeks where they don't have a lot of shifts. But it truly comes down to just, we need a team that trusts Vim. I like to think I'm a good human. I don't know. Maybe there's some of that, but I don't know. You have to ask other people. But yeah, I mean, like we all want to be a great boss. Are we even their bosses if they're subcontractors? Who knows? But yeah, like all of that plays into it. I'm sure we would run into a lot of problems if baristas weren't so eager to pick up our shifts because they were getting paid well, because they knew no matter what, they're going to have that work. I have to schedule some of these baristas a month out, and I overstaff not knowing, hoping that we reach that limit of bookings from these properties that they did the year before or that they talk about. And then if we overbook or we overstaff, then I kind of just have to let it roll and we eat that profit margin. But at least we have people who are working in our system. I've had to we've done some concession stuff solely to give barista shifts. That the big concession deal we have in Vegas, because of the union fees, we don't make a lot of money. And it's been expensive to build, but I do it because it allows us to bring in baristas, give them work, keep them involved, so that when we have these big weeks, we can call upon 50 people and say who's available, or can we schedule you, 3-4 weeks out, and then we have them. So the mindset's very different there in terms of if we're going to be big, the biggest coffee catering company, how do we staff it? And that's a whole separate problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you heard us talk about the 5 levels of catering?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, just for people's benefit, level 1, it's kind of a side hustle. 2, you're solopreneur. 3, you're kind of a full operation with a team. 4, you're dominating in your geography in your city. 5, you're kind of multi-city. I mean, your journey is really unique. You kind of went from nothing to level 3. You went right in. You kind of had this burn the ships type of moment where you said $30K on equipment and carts and like, let's go. We're going from 0 to 60. We're level 3. You've got a team you're building out. First, it'd be interesting. You may even view yourself still as kind of level 3 in Vegas. You're getting some notoriety, but there's still some other big dogs you're trying to compete with. And then you jump to a brand new city. So now you're kind of a 3-5. Like we don't even have a level for that. What's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. If somebody wants to follow if they're crazy enough to follow in your footsteps, and at the risk of, giving some advice to your future competition, like if somebody wants to go for this 3-5 play, what do they need to know? Stay away or what?
It's going to be Justin's fault again, because he told me, I was like, hey, Jess, can I start with 2 carts? He's like, no. Like because what happens when you get asked for 3 or 4 carts? You have to be ready. Now, I totally think that's a different mindset. I think you can start with 1 cart. I do think you should go the commissary route because most commissaries are month-to-month contracts. If you're not going to get a warehouse, we had to go the commissary route and got lucky that the commissary that we worked with in Vegas has giant rooms that we could rent out as like an actual room. So I do like the commissary route where you can start month to month, and not have to drop a ton of, money, because you can get those contracts for $250 a month, to use the commissary space. But yeah, I do think it's important if you're gonna survive, especially the more competitive it gets, that you scale as fast as you can, and as fast as your stomach can handle. Because the stuff that really advances you is those big contracts where you have 2, 3, 4, 5 carts booked out. And those are like kind of life-changing for the small companies who are doing this. It's hard though. It's hard. We've had to makeshift carts. It's not easy. And the money and taking those risks, like again, especially like the people who have families and mortgages and stuff, like I can only imagine those decisions are like, should you do that? It gets really tough. But I think if you can, yeah, I think scaling brings turning down events. It sucks. It really does suck. It's a nice, like, it tells you that you need to add, like, your cities, like you can do more, which is cool. But also you gotta build the SEO side and the Google is your best friend. I don't know anymore. Justin's so analytical that he's probably gonna tell me Reddit.
No,
where it's at.
not yet.
Reddit.
Pouring money into ads, pouring money into scaling, pouring money into just getting to a place where the bigger money events are. That's where you really.
How did you think about financing early on? If you're saying, hey, if you have the stomach for it, get 4 carts. There's a first mover advantage kind of still at play here in certain markets. Get those relationships. You said in DC, you're still having people say, whoa, this coffee cart thing is really cool. I've never heard of it, right? So there's some still early relationships to be made. How did you think about financing? How would you advise somebody who has the stomach for that?
Do it. There's really no
bank loan, family, be independently wealthy and lucky.
Family's good though. Family's good. Family, I go family first. If your family likes you. If your family doesn't like you, don't go family first. But I don't know. I think, okay, honest truth, find yourself a supplier that you'll buy everything from, that fixes machines, that has machines that sell you. And then go that. If you promise to buy everything and you stick to your word through one supplier as you grow and they believe in you, that supplier will most likely give you terms on machines and stuff, because they're not making money off of equipment. They're making money on you continuing to buy product from them. That's a really key one to our growth for sure, with some of the partners we've made. And then the other one is really, your carts don't have to look. I am big on systems like Justin, where the whole like building out your cart so it's perfect for your barista to take. Not necessarily like perfect looking, but like perfect boxes where it's easy and all that. But you may not, it's cart 3, 4, 5, 6 as you get it. You may have to piece together some of those different pieces. And that's kind of how we've done it, where we haven't gotten every piece that we need to do this. And honestly, Vegas isn't like, the most I'm doing for catering single events is like, I only need 5, 6 baristas to do those single events. So it's more so like building out. We've been able to scale where the full cart is not being built out, but getting it down to one barista, that's a secret that I hope most coffee caterers don't figure out, but that changes everything. It's pretty important. Obviously, if you're going to try to scale, getting the costs down where you don't have 2 people on site and getting your systems down to where one barista can take your setup. That's key. That allows you to price pretty well and competitive in your city. And then I would say, if you can handle not paying yourself for the first 2 years, price. I know this is not always the most sexy way to do it, and people will have different opinions on it, but I do believe in pricing low to get in front of people's faces. But it depends on your city. I think you obviously have to make money, but if you have a long-term goal, getting events, getting social proof, that's way more important than making an extra $30, $40 an event. Your first.
Yeah, that reminds me of something you said that early on, right, in Vegas, that you were pricing low, maybe just saying, hey, I'll do this for nothing just to be there because of the value of that. What did you do to take full advantage of that opportunity, right? You're in the room now, you're talking to the person who's booked you. Are you going to have a conversation with them? Like, how are you really thinking about maximizing that opportunity?
Well, if you're going after properties, one-sheets, these properties they want to be as easy as possible. You want to be as low maintenance for them as possible. Any relationship with anybody who's going to give you continual business, if you can handle everything and they don't have to think about it, great. If they have salespeople who are selling your product, you're going to be the one who has to get them the the one sheet. You're the one who's going to have to get them the thing that they're not going to put money and time into building out something to sell your product. It's how do you make it as easy as possible on that person that you're trying to get continual bookings from. And I don't know. I know Justin, I think Justin I think Justin's a better business. I respect Justin's business acumen a lot. I struggle sometimes with the adding more money to my event, adding a higher price. I cringe at it sometimes. I think now, because I've done this whole thing where we like have to get in front of people's faces, now where I'm starting to get into the place where, okay, we deserve a little more, like we are that quality. It gets tough, like you cringe at that the first couple times you send those big quotes. But I think once you're in the room, then there's definitely fake it till you make it. But just being as low maintenance as possible for that client is like, it's cool. They don't care. I mean, Justin used to say when you get to an event, they don't care about you. They have so many things they're thinking about. Like, show up, do your job. But to do that, you have to build out your systems where your barista knows what they're doing to show up, do their job. And then once you start serving those 5 first drinks, they're going to love you. And that's when you get to shine. But getting in the room, just do what you're there for as best you can, and like training your team to do it the best they can. That I think is pretty important. And being ready for that. I mean, if you're in the room, you better show up, I guess. And we haven't always. It's I had to learn early on, but most of us care a lot about aesthetic and how the coffee, and that's when you're in the room, that's what gets to shine.
Yeah.
Aesthetic. Yeah, baby.
And your personality, and I think that's once you're in the room, like most of us, to get in that room, you need that anyways. And so you're pretty much there. Just do what you're there to do, and the rest will take care of itself.
Nice.
And we're coming up.
We talked.
Sorry.
Picking me off.
I just want to bring this up really quick because you keep saying that, you're saying yes to everything, and you are within the context of convention centers and stuff, but you're actually kind of narrowing back your scope a bit too, right? Because you were saying yes to a bunch of crazy stuff. Like you were flying around the country serving lemonade for a minute.
God, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, that's not.
So like, I mean, but that was important too, because you had to figure out how much is too far. Like, what should I actually not say yes to? So can you talk through the learnings of, like, you were broadening the scope too much, and now you're kind of still saying yes to anything within your scope, but yeah, share a little about
most of those, like 50% of the ones you say yes to will end up not being worth it, right? And so you'll know after it's like not worth it. And so, yeah, narrowing the scope. If you're breaking even, obviously get the hell out of there. Flying around the country to do a lemonade to break even because you want to work with a marketing company is stupid, especially when you're shipping makeshift carts to that. It was just dumb. But I learned a lot, and I think when I'm laying in bed at night and I can't sleep because this thing that I have to agree to is not going to make sense for so many reasons, that's when I know, like, you have to, like, that thing you can never say yes to again. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy. It's not worth your effort. But saying yes, the smaller mom and pop events, the 550 to 800 range, if you knock it down $50, $100 the first time, there's 30, 40 more mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and people who will see it. And I think that's important early on. Plus, early on, getting your barista shifts is way more important than making 30 or 40 extra dollars. Get your baristas in a system where they're working 3-4 shifts a week. You may make 5% profit margin on that the first, month or two because you're doing these low events. But building a team is you can't do these without baristas. So saying yes to things and building a team, that to me is more important the first year than making, extra 10% profit on the events.
That's great advice.
Nice. Well, we talked about the levels of catering there. Just heads up, if you are down and want to hang out with us in Denver, we are doing a Flash Quotes hosted event, Level 5 Live. That is 5 spelled out. You can go to level5live.com, levelfivelive.com. Dan's going to be there. He may just be hearing about it for the first time, but I'm going to definitely make sure he's there.
You guys aren't even saying the date. Do we have a date? I don't know.
June 25, 2026, Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Put it on your calendar, Dan.
Maybe.
Everybody else?
I think, yeah, sure. That sounds fun. Let's do it.
Good.
That's cool.
Good.
You got your warehouse, Justin, or is that a fancy? Or can you?
But it's fancy.
After party might be there, but no, we rented a nice venue. It'll be legit. We've got some great speakers coming in, some panels, some top operators. We might even need you on a panel.
No, I won't do that. But that's because
Panel
I
Dan.
have social anxiety of speaking. But do you know what food you're getting? Because that made me.
No, how come?
Okay.
What
Well,
foods?
Everybody wants food.
We'll have.
Yeah, we're getting food. Do you have a food card or anything? We're
I
still.
don't want to work yet. I'm not gonna
Okay.
go. I'm not gonna work it. But people want to know what food you're gonna have. I feel like that.
Pizza.
We're gonna have delicious food.
I
Sign
believe.
up, put your email in at level5live.com. Be the first to know about the early bird specials and the food and Dan's favorite food.
Yes.
You'll hear it there. Dan, any last words, dude? Thanks for hanging out. Anything you want to share with us?
It's been awesome to see the growth in the coffee community world. I know it's kind of an awkward space when we're all trying to help each other and grow. But I think what you guys are building is a cool space where people do want to help each other. Sometimes I know the imposter syndrome, we all kind of feel like we're so early on that we can't really help anybody. I know I feel that all the time. It's like I'm still trying to figure things out. But I think it's a cool space that's being built. Excited to see where it goes. And we'll probably, once everybody's using flash quotes, we'll see what really matters because we're all going to be on the same level.
Well, and that's a question. I mean, yeah, first of all, that imposter syndrome thing is huge. You didn't want to come on the podcast. You wanted to wait another year or whatever till you like felt more legit, like you were worthy or whatever to be here. But I mean, I was so excited to have you because like I am so impressed by what you've done in such a short period. And I wanted you to be able to share this with people while you're still in the trenches going through all those challenges. I think that's so relatable.
Appreciate it.
Would this, obviously this would not have been possible without your work ethic and like crazy problem solving ability, but would the growth you've experienced and just the operations, would it have been possible without flash quotes, do you think?
No, not a chance. Like I said, the amount of events we've done, I mean, I think last year we did 650, 700 in Vegas, and I didn't have any admin help. It truly, the organization of it and then the leads and the things you can zap. No, not a chance. I think early on, 6 months in, I would have been, I don't even know what else I'd use, honestly. I mean, there's no way. And I'm not just saying that. I do think like it's been 3 employees worth of work that it does and growing the way you guys are continuing to grow it. It truly is. Yeah. It's exciting to have that in your back pocket. Whenever I see it pop up on other catering companies, I'm like, that's great, Justin, but everybody's going to have it eventually. What are we going to do then? But it's cool. I mean, I'm rooting for you guys. And I really do think if you're not using it, as much as I don't want everybody to use it because it is a cheat code for all of us who are using it, it's truly I think any catering company, I think if you guys expanded to caterers, I mean, it's a life-changing tool to have on the back end of your operations.
Honestly and frankly, I sometimes get worried about that too. It's like, it's so powerful. What is going to differentiate me when everyone is fully equipped with this crazy, crazy powerful tool? And the answer to that is service and hospitality. Like, you can use flash quotes and not pick up your phone. You can use flash quotes and ignore your customers when they complain or you have an issue. You can use flash quotes and have a terrible staff and who is not trained and is not onboarded. So there's still like, I think that to me is, and I tell new caterers this all the time. It's like, yeah, flash quotes, our goal is really to like reduce all of the operational and logistical friction, because up until recently, that operational and logistical friction was just basically hamstringing the growth of so many companies. Like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, absolutely unthinkable basically for a coffee caterer or an event business to grow to multi-cities. It's just not possible due to all of that friction. And it was kind of a low trust industry too, because there were not good systems and professionalization. It was the end customers had kind of lower trust, and then that also is kind of this feedback loop that they had trouble growing. But when everyone has flash quotes and everyone has the logistical support, everyone's operational and booking friction is reduced as to just a super, super low degree, and clients have high trust. When that day comes, like, the differentiator is service and hospitality and actually having some relationship and like empathy and warmth with your clients and rock solid trustworthiness, because you can still have flash quotes and have your baristas bail on the event and not even serve it, right? So to me, that's always a differentiator when it comes to hospitality, and it is so much easier said than done. You can have flash quotes and 0 Google reviews and not be found, right? So
Keep telling yourself that. I believe it, but you guys should do a podcast on the guy who's building the tool for all his competitors to compete with him in all his cities, because
is that me?
that's you. You're either really bored or it's a diabolically good podcast of why you're building this tool for all your. But it's cool. I do agree with you on all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, and I think your guys' growth shows it. I mean, it's just and you're dealing with this, like, I mean, you're in the growth stage of like where most coffee caterers trying to grow are in year 2, 3, where it's like you guys are up against the tech world's insane, right? And so I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of that same stuff that all of us are dealing with in the coffee world. But yeah, I appreciate what you guys have built. I tell you that often, I think. Do I, Zach? Did I tell you I appreciate, or not Zach, Daniel, do I tell you I appreciate?
My name says Zach because I'm
It does say Zach. You're going to read Zach the whole time.
You don't even know my name, Dan.
I do know your name, but you guys can't figure, for a tech company, you should figure out your tech on this thing and put the right name on your people. But yeah.
Yeah, you do, man. Your feedback's awesome, and appreciate the kind words. We'll keep crushing it for you.
Yeah.
And I think, the reason why I'm building this is because I think flash quotes can and will be bigger than Goodheart, and I think it also transcends coffee. And we want to build it for bar and photo booth and ice cream caterers. And I mean, that's why I'm doing it. And I think early on it really did scare me, and it still does actually kind of scare me to equip coffee caterers who may be in the same city as me with the same tool. I just have such a belief in what it can do for so many industries, including coffee catering, that I think flash quotes will be, bigger than Goodheart will ever be when it's all said and done. And I think that's, at least that's what I tell myself.
Cool.
So.
No, that's cool. I want that for you. I think you have a good shot at it because you guys are doing awesome. So thank you for helping us all along the way.
Cool.
Well, Dan Possehl, Vim Coffee, thanks for hanging out, buddy.
Good to see you, man.